Do you want to learn how to build wealth in real estate or buy your very first wholesale property? Before considering that, the first thing you need to do is locate motivated sellers. Hi, I'm David Washington, President and CEO of Kipling Real Estate Consultants and Advisors, and we're going to discuss 20 ways to locate motivated sellers. The first couple of ways are dealing with for sale by owners or expired listings. There are different websites that you can go to. There are companies that actually sell both of those services and provide you with a list of properties where you can actually make direct contact with the homeowner or expired listings. There's a lot of information that is available out there, different scripts, different ways you can approach them, whether you send out a postcard or you go and knock on a door. But those are gold mines to being able to locate creative sellers. Some of the things you're looking for when you're reading the information is anything that states that they're motivated to sell or they're relocating. You're going to go and write all types of creative contracts when you're dealing directly with the homeowner. With the expired listings, you have to be careful because a lot of times the real estate agent has a deal pending, like maybe a short sale or some other situation where the deal hasn't closed, and for some strange reason, the listing just went beyond the agents. They just weren't paying attention to the expiration date. So sometimes you get on the phone, you call that expired list or that listing, and then you find out that the agent there's a deal pending on a deal, and the agent is going to go back in there. So there are some different scripts out there. I highly recommend you get do a little Google search and get some different scripts of being able to locate motivated sellers and being able to approach them, so you're not wasting a lot of time contacting a bunch of dead deals. One of the other ways you can deal with is public record. For instance, you got divorce, you got probate, you have your pre-foreclosures. I love divorce cases and probate cases because in those types of scenarios you always have more than one party. You can't split a house, but you can definitely split the proceeds from that property. A lot of times you have a divorce situation where the court may have ordered one of the parties to maintain that mortgage. So for instance, the husband may be ordered to maintain the mortgage. The wife actually occupies the property. The husband's already vacated. He's not interested in continuing to live in the property, and somehow or another he has not wasn't able to pay his mortgage payment plus paying the rent where he's staying and paying the mortgage payment on the property. So oftentimes there's some type of additional legal stuff going on because someone has breached the contract. So at the end of the day, you still have a motivated seller. So approaching divorce cases is powerful. Same thing with probate. I have several clients that they're the administrators of the estate, and one of the family members is occupying the property. They're not either making a payment on the property, so now you have a foreclosure coming up. One of the cases I'm dealing with, one of the relatives is living in a property. She's not maintaining utilities. She wouldn't let you go in and take pictures or anything of the property so the actual administrator can liquidate it. So you have some issues that go on, and a lot of times with these divorce cases and these probate cases, there's additional family drama that you definitely want to avoid. So communicate with the person that can make the decision. Go out and write some creative contracts. You'd be surprised what type of results you get. Your pre-foreclosure list. Anytime there's a foreclosure in a particular county that you're interested in, of course, there are local newspapers. There are companies out there that sell pre-foreclosure lists. In Georgia, I like to use this company called foreclosurebidlist.com. Foreclosurebidlist.com gives you all the properties in the entire state of Georgia, and they're broken down according to county. What I like about that list is it gives you the attorney's information, it gives you assessed value, it gives you a variety of different pieces of valuable information. Sometimes you can get a picture of the property. So going to a site like that versus pulling the actual foreclosure newspaper, when that foreclosure newspaper is only going to give you legal information, you have to go in and interpret that. So there's some websites, there's some companies out there that actually provide pre-foreclosure lists. I highly recommend you get in contact with them. Those are gold mines in dealing with pre-foreclosures. Craigslist, that's a beautiful way. Craigslist is treated just like the for sale by owners. The difference is with Craigslist, sometimes it gives you more information about the situation with the seller. Craigslist will also tell you, there's certain keywords you look for. Again, motivated seller, have to move now, or something telling you a fixer-upper, or something that's telling you a little bit more about the condition or the financial condition of the actual owner. So that's always a powerful tool. You got your wholesale properties. Wholesale properties are going to be your networks of investors. That's a powerful way of buying properties as well, because you actually have wholesale investors that buy properties with enough spread in them to where they can sell them to you wholesale, and it's a win-win situation for everyone. A lot of times those may be some fixer-uppers or whatever the case may be, but the deal is you buying wholesale from a wholesale investor. So that's definitely a powerful tool. You have your MLS system. Sometimes you need a realtor to get access to the MLS, but sometimes you don't. There's actually a public site or a public side of the MLS system that you can go and access information. It is not going to be the same information or as detailed as it would be if you're a realtor that subscribes to the MLS system. So just kind of be careful of that. But if you can if you're working with a realtor, you can actually have that realtor set up alerts for you, where if it's something that meets your criteria, the moment it hits the market, you are notified via email. I've had a couple of potential buyers actually come directly to me. I called them, I said, or I responded back to them, and I said, why are you calling me? You're working with a realtor. They said, well, I can't get in contact with my realtor, but I want your listing desperately. So is there any way you can get me into the property? But I am working with a realtor. Situations like that, you have to be really careful as a realtor, such as myself, because you don't really want to step on anybody's feet, but you're also trying to find a buyer for your case. So in that particular situation, that realtor called me, said, David, hey, listen, let's work together. Whatever you need me to do, I'm here to do it. But this gentleman made direct contact with you. I was out of town and it wasn't accessible. So it worked out great. So I've had some very successful situations where that was the case. So just kind of be careful if you're a licensed realtor like I am, if you're dealing with a situation like that. But those alerts are very powerful because sometimes you're notified before your realtor is notified that this particular property that fits your needs based on your criteria, you're being notified about it. You have Zillow and HUDZoo.com and some other auction websites, HomeSearch.com. Those websites, we're going to talk about those in a second. Let's talk about Zillow. Zillow.com is great. I love Zillow. They give you a lot of information. Problem is with Zillow is all the information is not accurate. I'm not speaking anything bad about Zillow. Problem is with Zillow is, for instance, I had a listing not long ago, went and met with a homeowner. They said, well, Zillow said my house was worth X amount of dollars. I'm like, okay, well, unfortunately, Zillow is not a licensed appraiser, and only a licensed appraiser can tell you what your home is worth. I have a broker's price opinion certification, so I'm out doing a BPO on a property or an extensive CMA, which is a comparative market analysis. And this report tells me what your home could be sold for based on the homes that are like yours and within a specified period or a specified area to the subject property. So this is what your home could be sold for. However, this is not an appraisal either. The deal is Zillow's information is not accurate like that. Zillow also takes information from multiple sources. So for instance, Zillow has a portion of their site that gives you pre-foreclosures or lets you know when properties are getting ready to be auctioned. The problem is with that is I find it so funny because I went out and made contact with a homeowner that I got from the pre-foreclosure Zillow website. And I made contact with the homeowner, and she's like, oh my goodness, you're like the third person that came by here. Not only is my house not in foreclosure, but I don't even have a mortgage on my house. So I'm not understanding where this information is coming from. So again, Zillow is not the Bible to what you see. You need to have other sources and other people that can help you cross-reference that information before you go and make a trip or thinking you're finding a good deal. Zillow is a wealth of information. It provides you with a lot of information in real time, so you can actually sit at your computer and do some shopping around. Just make sure you have some other sources available for you to cross-reference that information. Auction.com and HomeSearch.com. I love those websites because you can literally buy a house from your laptop computer. You don't have to physically go out and inspect the property. You don't have to do any of that. But there's a couple things I'm actually going to warn you about. The first two, or the most important two, are the fact that you may see an opening bid. So I'm a realtor. I had a property listed. The mortgage company required me to put that property through HomeSearch.com. We put the property on HomeSearch.com. Got a lot of exposure, got a lot of phone calls. The problem is their minimum bid was like $142,000. Or the opening bid was $142,000. That's the information that you have to be careful about, because that opening bid is not necessarily the amount that the lender would accept. So let's say that opening bid was the highest bid. Like in this particular case when I had this property listed, my potential buyer came to me and said, David, hey, listen, I know you represent the homeowner. I don't have an agent, but but I want to work directly with you because I desperately want this property. He was the highest bidder, and he won the bid, and I put that bid in through him for him. But the problem is when we actually got to the mortgage company, and it took about a couple hours, mortgage company comes back and says, hey, guess what? We are going to increase our minimum amount because this was a short sale scenario. So even though the opening bid said one thing, they actually added on an additional $40,000 to that opening bid, which was the winning bid. And the buyer was so adamant about buying the property, it still was a super deal for him, but with an additional $40,000, it would have been a wonderful deal for him. So again, those types of websites, you have to be careful because of the opening bid situation. The other thing is if you're buying that property, I would highly recommend you go and inspect it. Back in the day, people were actually getting appraisals on properties, and the lender would look at these pictures on this appraisal, and just property just looked powerful. The appraisal was great. Come to find out, when you actually drive out to the property, the whole back of the house is burned up, or you see damage that you didn't see on that website. So make sure too that you're getting information based on what you see, what you research, what you physically go out and inspect yourself. The other thing is read the contents of the website. It may tell you on this particular property, do not make contact with the occupant. Well, it says that for a reason. So if it says that, don't do it. But if it doesn't say it, I highly recommend that you actually go out while you're inspecting a property, go knock on the door. First of all, you don't want to offend anyone because you're there. But making contact with the owner or the occupant is powerful because you never know, this could be a future client for you. This could be a already made in, live-in, ready to go tenant. You just really never know what the situation is. So you definitely want to make contact with them and talk to them about what their situation is, what they're willing to do. Are they interested in staying in the property? Can you help them relocate? Whatever the case may be. So if the content of the website does not give a do not disturb, I would definitely go and disturb and knock on the door and say, hey, listen, I'm thinking about buying this property. A lot of times they welcome you into the property, allow you to inspect it. So it's a wonderful tool to be able to get the information from the website and then cross-reference it again, having another source. Everything we're discussing really consists of you having other sources. We can talk about bird dogs. Now, why would a bird dog be interested in helping you buy your property? Well, first of all, bird dogs come from other real estate investment firms or real estate investment courses. You have people that have time. You may not have the time to go out and look at that property or go and do some research. So you have people that's willing to go out, knock on that door, inspect the property for you. They may have the ability to write a contract and put an assignment clause in the contract or whatever the case may be to get that price locked at that point. The powerful thing with dealing with bird dogs is you're actually able to give a fee to this person. Now, you have to be careful because bird dog fee is a term that you just don't use any longer, especially after the subprime crisis. There's just fees that you just don't pay to folks because it can be constituted as a real estate commission. If it's looked at as a real estate commission, the thing of it is that person will need to be licensed. So it could be a marketing fee. There's some other ways that you can compensate that person. So you just want to be careful. But again, a bird dog is great because they're able to go out and make contact with that homeowner. They're able to go out and provide the details of the transaction. And you can pay that person a fee for going out and doing the things that maybe you work a full-time job, you don't have time to deal with. So that's a powerful tool as well. Your local newspaper ads. Well, that's going to be treated a lot like your Craigslist, but you want to look at your local newspaper ads because first of all, that tells you the property is going to be local, number one. Number two, you want to look at for certain keywords, you want to look for motivated seller, relocating, divorce, estate sale. You want to look at things that's going to say to you right off the bat, this is a motivated seller. With Craigslist and with local newspaper ads, most likely they're not working with an agent because agents don't typically advertise that way. Some agencies do, but for the most part, it's a for sale by owner type situation. So that's a powerful way of being able to pick that up as well, or being able to find a distress or a motivated seller is with your local newspaper ads. You have asset management companies. Again, Google is a powerful tool. Get online and Google asset management companies that have local assets. Asset management companies typically deal with your REOs. They typically deal with properties that are sitting in limbo, or some banks call it shadow inventory. They have FDIC properties that have been taken over. Different places where management companies needed to manage that asset until it's ready to be liquidated. The thing about asset management companies is they typically are not going to have one or two houses here and there. They're typically going to have package of houses. They may have commercial office space. They may have apartment complexes. So just depends on what you're looking at as a real estate investor. You want to pay attention to where you're getting your source of information. Asset management companies are pretty good because they give you up-to-date information. Let's say, for instance, an apartment complex, you need to get the books on it. You need to calculate what the cap rate is. Determining what the cap rate is for a property really is almost the way you determine what the purchase price is. My later videos is going to talk more into the advanced stuff of real estate investing, but right now we're just talking about 20 different ways you can find distressed properties or potential motivated sellers. So asset management companies may have you sign confidentiality agreements or provide proof of funds. They may require that you work with a realtor. They may require that you work with their realtor. So the deal is just kind of, if you're looking for bargain property, if you're looking for commercial property, that's definitely a way to go. Driving through neighborhoods. A lot of people don't know just driving through a neighborhood can give you some wonderful, wonderful opportunities. One of the ways that I used to go and deal with pre-foreclosures, I would go and knock on homeowners' doors. Why would I do that? Because they may not look at the newspaper, or they may not hear my ad on YouTube or whatever the case may be to get in contact with me because they're a motivated seller. So I would go make direct approach with these people. Well, as I'm driving through the neighborhood, here comes a property with high grass, or may have cars in a driveway, or may have other telltale signs that this property they're having some financial difficulties. A lot of times the properties are vacant. If the properties are vacant, you need to be able to go and make contact with the next door neighbors. A lot of times the neighbors will have a lot of information about that property. Being able to go to public record and pulling the address and determining who the owner is. There's many ways of locating an owner of a vacant property. The other videos that I'm going to give, or you'll be able to subscribe to, you'll be able to find out how to locate absentee owners. But there's a wealth of information out there. You can always get in contact with my office, and we'll be able to assist you if you're trying to locate the absentee owner. So that's a powerful way, just driving through the neighborhoods and looking at telltale signs that these folks are having some financial difficulties. Going down to landlord-tenant court. Oh my goodness, that's really a wealth of information, because you always have a landlord, you have a tenant. A lot of times that landlord is motivated to get rid of their property. So of course they're going to be there and they're going to be willing to talk to you. So that all court information really is public record. So you can actually find out who these people are being dispossessed, and find out their contact information, or to find out the owner's contact information. Have a business card ready, because you're not going to buy that property right there. But what you can do is plant that seed with that motivated seller. Same thing happens with the tenant. The tenant may need to relocate somewhere. We don't know the circumstances of why the tenant is being evicted, but it could be a situation where they just had an injury, or they lost their job for a short period of time. If you're in the state of Georgia, Georgia is a state that can evict you real fast. This person may have had 2 weeks or 3 weeks of lost employment, and now they're working, maybe they're getting paid better than they were before from a new job, or whatever the case may be. They're going to need somewhere to stay. So you can't judge people because they're being evicted. But that is definitely a place that you can get in contact with motivated tenants and motivated sellers. You have your rent ads. A lot of times you have your rental properties out there, they're ready to be sold. Maybe the homeowner is not actually an investor. A lot of times you have homeowners that are not investors. They relocated to another state because of a job transfer, or because they lost a job and they had to go somewhere else with a family member or whatever, and they need to rent this property out. Well, a lot of times these are not professional property managers. And that being said, they rent that property out. They probably would prefer to go ahead and sell that property. So your rental ads, I know a lot of folks are not calling on rental ads, but you'll be surprised how many motivated sellers that you'll find on those rental ads. So that's definitely a powerful way. How about networking groups and real estate companies that have networking groups, and they're either training you how to be an investor, or they're talking to you about just networking and just learning different things about real estate. That's a very, very powerful way, because you have access to motivated sellers, motivated buyers, other wholesalers. You picking a property up wholesale, just like we talked about you buying a property wholesale. Let's say you own a property and you bought it with enough spread, you can actually sell that property to a wholesale buyer. So not only have you found a property, but you've also found a buyer with these networking groups. Highly recommend you join your local networking groups because they can be a wealth of information. How about your property tax delinquent properties? Okay, well, if the property taxes are delinquent, of course there's an auction that's going to take place. Of course that homeowner is going to be motivated. You can either buy delinquent tax certificates or you can buy actual properties. In either case, it's a win-win situation. Each state has a certain percentage that you're able to make from that property once the redemption period expires. So let's say you went and bought a property today at an auction for back taxes. Well, you don't own that property right then and there. You actually own a tax certificate. The homeowner actually has the right to redeem that property, and once they redeem that property, they'll have to give you your money back plus a percentage. It's almost like a guaranteed way to make money in real estate. So buying tax certificates is great, but you can also buy that property through delinquent property taxes. So looking at that, properties that are not meeting code inspections. You have a lot of inspectors that go out and look at these properties, or you may have a next door neighbor that reported a property that's got a lot of issues. That homeowner is 9 times out of 10 going to be motivated. So finding your properties that people are not maintaining. They could be in a hospital, where people could be in comas. They could, I've had a couple of situations where a client actually died, and the administrator or the family didn't do anything with the property because they assumed that the property is going to be transferred back over to the bank because the bank was going to foreclose. Sometimes the bank don't foreclose, or whatever the case may be, and at the end of the day, you still own that property. So those are definitely gold mines, is finding a property that is have code violations. Your landlord-tenant courts, we discussed that. Then you have your fixer-uppers. You have properties, again, that's typically going to be your wholesale properties where you're communicating with these wholesale, but you have investors that go out and buy these properties and they fix them up, or they desperately need to be fixed up and they don't have the financial resources to fix them up. I've actually had several investors buy properties and say, this was a super deal, but my money dried up, I'm not able to fix this property up. Can you list this property for me and find me a buyer? Excellent way to buy these properties as fixer-uppers. My later videos will show you about flipping properties and going through rehab. There's some pitfalls that you want to avoid, but people are building wealth every day with situations like that. So that's always a powerful tool. But I would love to discuss helping you out in your real estate career and building your real estate wealth. We have a mentoring program that's getting ready to be online. We have books out helping homeowners. If you're investing in real estate, that means somebody has lost something or some disadvantaged situation. That's not always a negative. In one of my other videos, we talked about how short sales, the homeowner actually make money at the short sales situation. So you're buying a wholesale property, but you're actually helping yourself and you're helping a homeowner at the same time. I love a situation like that. I love for people to sit down at the closing table and everyone is walking away with something people are not feeling like they're being taken advantage of. So I specialize in those types of scenarios. I enjoy doing what I do. Again, you want to learn more information about how to find distressed properties or motivated sellers, please get in contact with me, 770-872-7500. Come and visit my website, davidwashingtonrealtor.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. We're here, we're everywhere. We want to help you out. Thank you so much for tuning in to this video, and good luck in moving forward in your real estate career.